when one day they inadvertently drilled and blasted their way straight into the side of a huge subterranean aquifer, an underground lake, if you will. Well, that water poured into the mine like a mighty river, and it filled the mine almost up to the surface. Miraculously, nobody drowned that day. I suspect that nobody was working down on the 1,000-foot level when this occurred, because all the miners were able to scramble up to the surface and escape. However, things looked really bad for the Mammoth Mine. They tried and tried to pump all that water back out, but no matter what they did or how many pumps they used, the water just kept coming in faster than they could get rid of it. And eventually they had to decide that there was just nothing more they could do for the mine. And really the only option that remained was simply to shut it down and walk away from it. So the Mammoth Mine was abandoned. But our intrepid friend from Colorado, he wasn't done yet. He still had his 3 other mines. So he pulled his people off the Mammoth and he sent them out to his other mines and put them to work there to see if they could expand and improve those operations. And that went along fine for a time. But eventually, one by one, all 3 of those remaining underground mines ran into that same underground aquifer, and one by one, they all flooded and also had to shut down. So now, all of a sudden, things are looking real bad for the whole town, because all the underground miners, they just up and left. And the surface miners had scraped up about all the surface that they had legal claim to, so they were taken off. And that meant that the business people in town no longer had anybody to buy their wares or do any kind of business with. So they started closing their shops and packing up and moving out. And before you know it, there was almost nobody left out here. And one day, the folks at the post office, they must have looked out the front door and said, hey, there's nobody left out here. There's maybe a dozen people in town. There's hardly any mail going in or out anymore. We really can't afford to be running a post office like this. We're going to have to close. And so in 1898, only 5 years after it had opened at the peak of the boom, Goldfield Post Office shut down, and Goldfield officially became a ghost town. Well, we're just about back at the station now, so I want to thank you folks for riding along with us today. We appreciate you taking some of your time and spending it out here with us, learning a little bit about our history and helping us to keep our town alive. If you enjoyed the trip and you'd like to leave a little tip for your poor old engineer friend, there's a tip box at each end of the platform. Gratuities are never expected. However, they will be gratefully accepted. Once again, folks, thank you very much, and have a wonderful rest of your afternoon here at Goldfield.
Bueno, amigo, pues ya llegamos aquí a nuestro destino. Vamos a cortar la transmisión. Gracias por ver este video. Ya llegamos a nuestro destino. Aquí con mis hijas, Brenda,